Hello. Welcome back to Unruly by Nature. This is our season 2 because we decided to take a bit of a break over the summer. And so this is episode 21, season 2. And today is a really cool day because it's not just me, Kim and Sue. It's me, Kim, Sue, and Jennifer and Walter. So these guys are our first ever guests, and I'm personally completely buzzing to have two new energies in the space. As per usual, there is no script, there is no editing. We are just going to hang out together, get to know Jennifer and Walter, and see what this space, what we all create. So I'm going to begin. We always begin with a question, Jennifer, and we're going to keep it super simple. We just want to know collectively, like, who is Walter? How did he end up with you?
Oh my goodness. This is truly, when I say this is a privilege to be on this podcast to talk about my dog Walter, it is like actually I could do this all day, every day. So to get to do this with you all and then whoever is listening is just an absolute dream. Walter is there's so many gorgeous, incredibly perfect other animals on the planet, but Walter happens to be the best of them. I'm sorry, but not. He was a foster fail, which is like so not I hate that phrasing because nothing about him. I mean, look at this little face. Hello. Nothing about him is a failure whatsoever, like at all. I had been fostering for, I don't know, I think I had like 6 or 7 dogs before I went on, I'm an actor, so before I went on a Broadway tour. And I told myself that once I got off this tour, that would be when I would finally adopt a dog. And the tour was shut down by COVID. And at the time, I was with my then ex in LA, and they were still working, and I was, unemployed because the entire industry was shut down. And I was like, well, I'm bored. I'm going to foster while we're here. And thus began a new adventure into fostering. And at that point, the pandemic was really pandemicking, and the tour was like, we're not coming back for any time. And I was like, well, at this point now I should foster to adopt. And Mr. Man, honestly, like, should not have happened. I was on a short list for a puppy from a rescue, and I went on their website to see an update on the little puppy's progress. And Mr. then Ray's little headshot was on their site, and he was a model. And I was like, who is this dog model? And what is this dog's status? And I reached out, and they're like, this dog will be adopted in 4 seconds. If you want him, you better claim him. And it was a foster to adopt kind of situation. So I went to this rescue's brick and mortar. He was the only smallish, he's deceptively small. He looks so, he's, I call it like Napoleon energy. He definitely, but he was this small little dog running around a bunch of other big dogs. And I remember calling my ex at the time and saying, he's so pretty. Like, I usually like a dog that looks like it's been put through a washing machine. And I was like, you is too pretty. He's so cute. Like, look at him. And my ex was like, just take him home and we'll see. And the second he got home, he just like laid on his back and opened his legs. And I was like, you are me and you are ready and you are mine, I think. And the rest is history. And now he's truly the literal love of my life. I would do absolutely anything for him, which is way too unhinged and unwell. And he keeps me present, and he is quirky and weird and adventurous and mostly quiet, except for when wheels come around him in any capacity. And he's just the softest little stuffed animal that's real that I get to snuggle at night. I mean, like, what else do you want to know? I can talk. I mean, truly, like, we're here. Whatever you want to know.
How did you switch from Ray to Walter? Did he give you that name, or
No? I had a little short list of like old man and women names, and Walter was one of them. And I saw him, and I was like, yeah, that's right. There was like Herbert and Howard, and Carl. Just like things that I liked the idea of, just like a bunch of men sitting around with like cigars and like talking about the newspaper. But like in my brain, it was like 1942, like a kind of that vibe. I had some other ones I thought the puppy was supposed to be a girl, and I was going to name her Ethel. Like, like, I think you can probably get maybe my brain a little bit. Just, I like the idea of just like a bunch of old people running around, and I get to yell that in a dog park.
Oh, that's awesome.
Ethel, come. Like, that's fun. The first time I took him to the vet, again, it was during the pandemic. And I flew back home from LA to New York, and everything was masked and you couldn't go into the actual vet. And so they came out to the car to take him. And I was in my mother's, at the time, Suburban. And again, he's like, 11 pounds, but I had him in the back seat. And I guess they heard the name Walter, and the vet technician came out to open the door to get Walter and went to the trunk door, assuming that he was a big dog, and was like, "Where is Walter?" And I was like, "Not there." Like, open the side door. And like, I remember explicitly, because she was wearing a mask. So it was just her eyes. She opened the door and her eyes were like, "What? Like, this small thing is named Walter?" And I was like, "Yes, that's exactly the point, right? Because you're perfect." Yeah. So that's it.
His ears are amazing. Every
I
time you
know,
say his
they
name,
go in the middle.
they just go like, what? I'm here for you.
And
Because
those eyes.
it's really
eyes are so
funny
sweet. Little
when you
buttons.
sent a picture of him.
Yeah.
Like, I got like a couple of things came, and he just said life sparkles for him. And it's life with you sparkles with him. Like, it just, I just see glitter, and then I saw like Fred Astaire came into my head.
That's right.
And you know how like Fred Astaire always got, like, I'm thinking Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
And Fred Astaire always got the girl over Bing Crosby, and it's like that was him. And I'm just like, and I just
I've got the girl.
he got the girl.
I will say he's pretty gender fluid in terms of other, friends that he meets on the street. But for me, it's definitely a duo, 100%. Yeah.
It was just awesome.
Thank you.
So you've just got engaged,
I did.
which is public knowledge. I haven't just
No, you have
outed
not,
you
you
on
have not outed it.
He knows, right? He knows.
Yeah, he knows. Well, actually, the funny thing is too, again, my partner from the get, it was very clear, like, this is the love of my life, and you can compete for another position. I can love, many beings, but just not the way that I will love this animal. Correct. I know. Thank you. And he actually proposed to Walter in February, like a while ago. He got one of those little plush rings. I guess they have like if you go online, there's just like a big plush ring box, and you open the ring box and it's a big plush ring. And he bought this, and we were down visiting my father in Florida, and we're having, I don't know, like a smoothie or an acai bowl or something, as one does in Florida on the beach boardwalk. And he like opens his bag and he's like, "Can I, Walter, come here?" And he like has Walter sit, and he like goes and pulls out this plush ring box and opens this, ring out and tries to propose to Walter. And it's this funny 4-minute video I have where Walter could not have cared less. Could not have, like, truly could not have cared less. He tried to then bribe him with some like almond butter from the acai bowl, and he was like, "All right, I'll lick that and then I'm off." And at the end of it, when he tried to like finish the proposal, Walter peed. I was like, that, you cannot make that up. And for me, that was, exactly the kind of way that it should have gone down, where he was like, "You could do it. I will say essentially yes, but like, it's not like I'll be there, not like you need my approval." Like, just like,
no performance.
No, it was like, "I'm here and I'll urinate right next to this." Like, just the disregard was so right. It was so right. And even in that, he asked to be, before that even began, my partner asked if he could like be his father. And I said, no. Like I was like, "You can't." He's like, "What do you mean I can't? I've like worked really hard to like earn his and your trust." I was like, "Yeah, but I'm his mother. Like, you would be his stepdad. You can be a stepfather. That you essentially are. You walk him sometimes, you don't pay any bills, and I don't need you to. Like, I am a single mother who has raised this beautiful being on this planet. I don't need your help." And then he still proposed. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's really, if people really knew what goes on.
Well,
I don't know how I'm engaged. I really don't. But
Walter's like, "She'll make up the guest room for you."
Yeah,
exactly.
And lo and behold, he puts a foot wrong.
yeah.
But I love that you made it clear
sweet.
from the outset, because like, how many people have that relationship with their dogs?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's so common
I
where
know.
the dog not even is in between the person. It's like there is no in between.
Yeah.
They're just so aligned with
I
that
know.
one human being. And
then it gets confusing, and I don't want to be confusing. I want it to be very clear that like, these are the roles, and please enter into the assigned role in the best way you want to. And is he falling asleep? Oh my God. Okay, great. And then that's it. Like I have raised him to be the entire beautiful gentleman that he is. And I clearly don't need your help. So I'd love your partnership in your supporting of me being the unhinged mother that I am.
So
That's it.
I'm gonna throw a curveball for you, Jennifer, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
say let's have the same conversation 5 years down the line and let's see what's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's walking me, he's the one who's guiding me around and he's making me food and paying my bills. He's an influencer and we don't have to work and he does, that would be great.
I think the one trait that I see in you, Jennifer, is the clarity alongside the connection, but so many people aren't clear
Mm,
with how they feel about their animals, and I think it can
mm,
create this foggy space.
mm.
Mm.
So I think like I really like admire that trait in you, that
Thank you.
clarity that you have to just say, this is how it is, this is
Yeah.
my life, this works for me, and
Yeah.
like be the best you can around it. I think that's
Thank you.
just that goes way beyond animals and
Thank
dogs.
you.
Mm.
And I do think, though, like, putting it back in the animal land of things, I grew up with dogs my whole life. I'm a very, very huge dog human, clearly. But, I think there is something about just like, I don't claim to, you probably all know so much more than I do about dogs, but there is something about the like pack mindset of it all and the leadership part of things that I really do feel, even for myself, like the clarity around my relationship with him not only allows him to be a better dog, I think, because he's able to just like be fully himself and also know when and how he needs to do things, but also for myself. Like if I know that there is a structure, then I'm able to show up better for me in the way that I need to for my own life. As opposed to like, oh God, I forgot to feed my dog, or oh, I forgot to schedule a dog walker, or oh no, I'm running low on food. It's like, no, my responsibility is to keep this being alive and also hopefully thriving. And in doing so, it's allowing me to do the same. And so I'm grateful that you say that. Thank you. And I also, in some ways, like don't know the other way. Like I don't, if I
Mm.
wasn't so clear, like everything gets messy and blurry, I think.
Well, and you have
Mm.
quite a busy life too, right? I mean,
I
so
do.
how do you traverse that, like
Yeah.
the being gone a
I
lot
will
with
put him
him?
down because he wants to go lie down in this heat of the things. Hold, please. Goodbye. Good boy. It's a balance for sure. And now I think at this point in my career, I wear many hats in the artistic space, primarily actor, but also acting coach. I'm a podcast host also and a writer. So there's a lot of things, but they kind of ebb and flow depending on where things are in seasons. But at this point in my career, he's a non-negotiable. If we're talking about how that factors in, every single contract that I have, it's brought up that he will be there. It's like it's true. I will turn down work if they're like not dog receptive because it's
Mm.
actually less about like the rules and more about like dog people. I think there's something about knowing if somebody says no to a dog, then they're not my kind of person to begin
Mm,
with. Like,
yeah.
you don't need, there's a gradient of love for dogs, but if you're kind of like no, straight up, like we're not operating from the same way of like love and collaboration.
I love that.
And so I think, I don't know whether that's a good or bad thing, but I think at this point in my career, that's a choice that I'm making for sure. Um, and, more often than not, I think certainly post the pandemic, there has been a bit of a shift around having dogs in spaces. I think people are
Mm.
hopefully and beginning
A little bit
to
more tolerant.
understand, yeah, the
Yeah.
benefit of it. There really is the emotional support of it, the
Yeah.
energy, the vibrancy, the presence. And he's really, really good. He's been brought in so many of these spaces that, if they're plunking out music or if somebody's, running around in the space and being wild, he's pretty tempered and, he'll just sit on somebody else's lap if he needs to and just hang out. So I think really ultimately it's a benefit to have him there. It's just, and he's small. So it's not like he takes up a lot of space. It's just a matter of, yeah, bringing him along for the ride. And yes, there are moments where, if I have a really long rehearsal day and we're in tech for an actual show and he can't be there. My partner is really wonderful. And will take him and or stay with him. And then I do have a couple other people in my life that are in the little mix of we have these neighbors that they wish they could have a dog, but like the logistics of their life doesn't allow it. So when they're able to have him, it's just like what they wish they could have. And then my father and I guess, have a transactional dynamic in that when he's out of town, I watch his dog. And when I'm out of town, he watches my dog. And so there's kind of this understanding that that is also something I could rely on in, if I'm going abroad and I'm unable to bring him, or something that's a little bit more of like a personal trip that I want a little bit of space. But for the most part, I want him there. Like, I miss him, and I miss his snuggles, and I miss his cute little face and his everything. So I try as much as I can to have him along for the ride. And obviously there are some exceptions.
This is maybe a bit of a deeper question,
Yeah.
or not. Are there any doorways he's opened for you?
In terms of what?
Well, I guess if we see our dogs as a partnership walking up the pathway, all right, we call them that, they're our babies and we're dog mum. But if we see them as a partnership, are there, like when you're talking about going for work, they have to be aligned with dog people. So I guess for the way I'm hearing it is he's helping you really work with the people that resonate with you. So he's making your path clearer. But I just wondered if there's any, how if we have a certain character of dog, they will open up a doorway for us that we wouldn't necessarily have
Yeah.
gone into before. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. I'm going to
Like
take
this,
it.
you're on our podcast.
I mean, I think in some
In
ways,
this episode.
in some ways, yeah. Like there's an absolute like stepping into the love in a more cognizant way of like, yeah, I'm not just like a dog mom. It's like, no, I'm obsessed with him. Like, can I talk about him? And that's why I'm here. So like, yeah, that kind of thing wouldn't necessarily happen. The kinds of gifts that people can get me for like, I don't love my birthday, but like, it's like there's something like, as long as his face is on something, like I will be the best gift that's ever been given. So I think for my friends and family, it's probably made that kind of easier for them of like, what do we get Jennifer? Oh, just like get her a blanket with Walter's face. It's like, great. I'm going to love it. That is a funny tangent. I'll get back to what you're saying. So a partner of mine many years ago did buy a blanket with Walter's face repeating a bunch on it, and I left it on the couch in the living room. And in the middle of the night, he's not a barker. In the middle of the night, I'm hearing barking happening in the living room. I'm like, what's going on? And I come out, and he's barking at the blanket, thinking that it's a bunch of dogs sitting on the living room couch, freaking out. And I had to hide the blanket. I could never use it. So maybe not the blankets, but what has he opened for me? I think a lot of patience. There's and calm. I find his energy desperately calming for me. And when I hold him, if I'm ever in some sort of, emotional state that like needs a little bit of regulating, like there really is an actual science to the way in which our like heartbeats sync, or he does something to my literal body. So there has been a leveling energy wise for sure about having him in my life. The joy that he brings me, I think my life is so much more joyful because even in the smaller little silly moments of him doing bizarre things, and I'm like, what are you doing? But it's just presence has really forced me in a non-bad way to just be like, oh right, like this is what it means to be alive. And it's been a definite like regulation of like adding in more positivity and groundedness and breath probably. And I don't know, I may have found that in other ways, and certainly with like therapy and growth and aging, I think those things kind of naturally hopefully fall more into place, but his presence has certainly enforced those particular emotional qualities, not a doubt.
And he obviously needed someone that was going to take him on adventures.
I think so. He was found running in Coachella Valley, which I guess people, when they hear that, they're like, they think Coachella. It's not the same, but maybe he was
I don't
just
know what that is.
it's in California. It's just this valley of hills, and he was like found running in these valleys.
Ah.
And I think for me that feels indicative of his kind of energy, where he's just like a little bit of an explorer, and he's just like running around in hills, like whoever. And he clearly was somebody's. He wasn't microchipped. They let him, and they kept him in the shelter for the period of time that they were supposed to like see if anybody came and claimed him, and they didn't. And then obviously he was transferred to the rescue, but he was mostly potty trained. He was mostly crate trained, which I've since taken away because I just want to be around him all the time. But he was kind of trained, and so he had a different family clearly beforehand. But he was seeking a new adventure, and I
Yeah.
was his adventure. So
Has
here
he
we
done
are.
any acting?
Unofficially. It's funny, anytime there's a show that, like, requires a dog, I'm like, "Can he do this?" I think he can, it's just a matter of, like, am I willing to, like, bring him to rehearsal and shows every night? You know, like, do I wanna be a dog stage mom, or do I just wanna be on stage myself? Like, that's the
Uh-huh.
balance yet, but, yeah, if there's ever a show that is looking for a dog and I also get to be in it, you best believe that will happen. I
Like on
hope.
the front of a bike or something.
Oh my god, anywhere. Just, like, even in, like,
18.
Legally Blonde, they have a little dog that comes out and is held, like, that's him. I don't care what dog you need, but he should be the dog. Yeah.
So I had a look at his little Instagram page, and he really is an adventurer, isn't he? I mean, it looks like he goes everywhere with you, from, the undergrounds to, the back of a car,
Yeah.
to the beaches, to the mountains, to the outdoors, to, as
Yeah.
you say, inside the studio. So, I mean, he's one, as you say, one of those perfect dogs that you can take anywhere, do anything.
Yeah.
Is there something that he doesn't like? You'd mentioned wheels, anything with the wheels. Is there something that he says no to? This is not something that I'm gonna be
Yeah.
flexible with.
At first, because again, I adopted him in California, we had taken him to the beach to, like, go to the waves, and he was not about it, like, not about it at all. And then last summer, I was out in the Hamptons with family, and we went to the beach, and my uncle has dogs, my mother has 3 dogs. It was just, like, 6 dogs at the beach and, like, 3 adults, so outnumbered. And he saw the waves again, and I was like, "Oh, he's really gonna hate this." He was obsessed, obsessed. I mean, like, we couldn't drag him away. He had his, like, just claws were, like, anchored into the sand, and I had to pull him. He was obsessed with them. So at first I would have said, waves, but now that's changed. I mean, like most dogs, any real loud noises, like the lightning and thunder situation, we're talking about fireworks, like, any of that is, like, really a nightmare. I may or may not have to, like, give him a little bit of CBD and or drugs to, like, mitigate that. That's not his favorite. When we approach getting a haircut, he knows the location at this point, and he's not the biggest fan of, like, entering, but he does it and tolerates it, I guess. Um, where else? I wouldn't say he's not about it, but when I watch TV, he watches TV actually, like, he doesn't just sit there, he
Mm.
watches, and so if there's any animal on screen, he's also not about it, like, that is another time he will bark at the TV screen. If there's a horse, I don't think he loves horses. I think he's afraid of horses, they're big, he's small, but I think he thinks he's big, so it's confusing for him. And other sheep, we were watching Stanley Tucci's Italy show, and there was a whole herd of sheep, and he was like, "These, I must herd these." I mean, like, you're in an apartment, like, I don't know where you think they're going or you're going, but that was another one he wasn't really a fan of. But I don't know if he doesn't like that, or as much as he just feels like a sense of dominance. And I think that that's like me to try to continue understanding whether it's like an interaction thing or a fear-based thing, and then we're trying to just, like, overcompensate.
I
It's
got I
fascinating. Sorry, go on, Kim.
no, I just got 2 things. I just see him when you're watching TV and he sees an animal, "That should be me."
Yeah. He would I mean, he will be in a deep sleep, a deep slumber, like, a down and
And
out,
they know.
and he's up and at 'em and ready, and I'm like, "You're trying to dive into the television. This isn't real. Like, come back."
So
Crazy.
I was just gonna ask, do you like, I know you talk to him all the time,
Yeah.
obviously, but can you understand him? Like, do you have like, are you intuitive?
I am. Yeah. I know I'm even, like, the ears, like, I know what ear shapes are mean what. His tail for sure. His, like, his posture, the way his eyes look at various points, the way he looks at me in certain situations. I'm not gonna say I'm like a dog whisperer, because I think that's, like, giving myself too much credit, but the 2 of us are too in sync, perhaps. Like, I'm
Yeah.
really, and I think the opposite is said too, it could be said too, like, he knows when I am crying, or if I'm having a really bad day, or I'm super stressed. Like, I sense the symbiotic relationship in that, and who's to say that he is comforting me versus me comforting him? Like, sometimes it's like, where does it begin and where does it end? But
Mm.
because of the way in which we're connected. Yeah, I think there's definitely like we're able to kind of balance each other out during those moments because we're both really, really like clued in.
Yeah.
It's
I think
wild to talk about this in this space. I've never actually been given the opportunity to dive in, and I think I'm proud of myself and also like desperately embarrassed about like how much I love him.
well,
Oh,
I think
you're amongst
I
yeah.
know.
company with that.
Yeah, thanks for
Well,
creating the safe space.
I think it's really great that you do talk about it because I think so many people feel that way about their
Yeah,
animals,
Mm,
but don't want to say it out loud because of the social norms. Let's
yeah,
say that, like, how can you put an animal before a human? How can
yeah,
you love your dog more than you love your partner?
yeah,
It's not something that we are supposed to do.
yeah.
And yet, like you said, for me, it's a completely different relationship.
Mm,
It's the relationship we have with our animals is a deep love, compassion, partnership, all of those things that we have with a human. But there's another layer onto it
yeah,
that, like you said, it goes deeper than that. There is something
yeah,
that your dog knows you through and through. You know your dog through and through.
yeah,
And it's somebody it's a being that you can be a 100% authentic and open
yeah,
Mm.
and yourself with
yeah,
versus sometimes a partner or a friend or a family member or whatever, where we sometimes put these little masks on. And so I think it's such a
yeah,
beautifully authentic relationship. Why shouldn't we be,
yeah.
um, you know, sharing that with the world and saying, look what a beautiful, authentic relationship looks like?
Yeah. Oh, I love the way that you just said that. I think you synthesized it so beautifully. And I think ultimately, like, that is, I haven't really put it together in this way, but now that you've said it so beautifully, I think in some ways it's like, we're humans are animals. That is who we
Mm,
are
Correct.
at base. And the thing that sets us apart is our communication and the way in which we feel and can express those feelings. And I think there's something to be said about the dynamic that happens with an actual animal that allows us to be more in
Mm.
touch with, and I say this in like the better part, like our animal instincts
mm,
of really being able to actually be present, really being able to tune into survival, but not in
mm,
the like urgency of it, like survival of like, what do we really need in this moment, the presence of that. And I really do think that that is the difference and why I think so many of us have these relationships with our pets. It's just because, yeah, you don't have to put on anything in order to be perceived as something in the hierarchy of society. You just are. And
mm,
mm,
you are received as such and vice versa. And that is how it is to be in like the animal kingdom of like, are we safe here? Can we get the food? Like, that's it.
mm,
Like, are we
Mhm.
friends or are we not?
mm,
Um, and so, yeah, there is truly like a real breath that goes into being just on in the way that you are without trying to put anything on that
mm.
a dog will witness and encourage and frankly require in order for it to get its own needs met. Um, it really, I, I'm so grateful and also deeply, deeply, deeply privileged that he is like my first dog, and he's also frankly set me up for like absolute heartbreak for the rest of my life. Like I know that
mm,
he has spoiled me to the extent of like, oh, this is my expectation for what a dog will and should be.
Mm.
I had dogs growing up that I love desperately, but if I think about them, I'm like, I could never have brought them on the subway. I could never have traveled with them the way that
Mm.
I do with him. I could never do so many of the things that I do with this dog. And whenever anybody meets him, they're like, oh my God, he's actually perfect. Objectively. Like, I know I'm biased, but just objectively, he's an incredible dog. And so the idea of, and hopefully in the future when I have many, many more and they fill my life for the rest of my life, no dog will hold the candle. And for that, I do have a lot of sadness because it's like truly not going to get any better than this. And my heart will not be able to handle anything that happens on the other side of it. I'm like desperately afraid of that.
mm.
Mm.
It's bad. It's really bad. So, yeah.
But he's obviously what you need right
Oh
now.
my God, so much.
Like
Yeah.
he's exactly what you need right now. And if he lived with someone else, he would probably be a very different dog. Like
Yeah,
imagine if he lived
Mm.
with someone quiet, maybe he'd be chaos.
it's true. It's
Maybe he would be
true.
causing chaos and
Thank
just
you
like
for the
running
reframe.
off and
Yeah. Maybe that's why he ran away. He was like, this is unstimulating. Like,
yeah. Yes,
Give me
right.
some life here.
And now with me, he's like, God, please let me sleep all the time. This is dysregulating for me. I don't know how else to survive. Yeah.
And I also just want to speak to that when the interspecies connection
Yeah.
as well, because I think there's this thing as human beings. I had a client just before, and she was talking about being alone and being lonely. And I was thinking, it's such an interesting concept that because we define lonely as not being around other human beings. But whenever I communicate with an animal, they're like, and there's squirrels and there's sheep and there's
Yeah.
bugs and there's plants and there's
Yeah.
air and there's the stars. It's like, how can we ever feel really alone when we are, because they're so connected to everything. And there are all of these species that are having relationships with different species that when you watch these documentaries. So my dog watches TV as well. She loves David Attenborough, anything that's nature based, and she's fixated.
Does she bark at anything on there?
Dogs.
Okay.
Dogs. Yeah,
Okay.
Dogs. She will shout at dogs. How dare they come into her living room, the
That I
place where
understand.
she's fed smoked salmon and all of that. But I think it's normal and healthy. And I just think I love what you said about it, but you didn't use the word primal, but it brings out the animal in us and takes us back to who we are and our truth and our roots. And that, I just think they're the best. They're the best. I was going to say gravy. I don't know why I said gravy, but I do quite like gravy and custard. But I think they're so good for the soul.
Yeah. 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 It's just, I mean, to make it more, gender inclusive, but they're the woman's best friend. I think there's a reason for that. Cats are cute, I guess, but no one's ever said that about a cat in terms of like a phrase that gets put on mugs and, in vacation homes that you rent on an Airbnb site, you don't.
So like this now. It's a cat to come for us.
Yeah, there's a different vibe. And, there's different people who fall into the gradient of both. And for me, if you're an animal person, regardless, I care about you because we relate to beings in a very different way than people who are like, no. I don't trust you if you don't like an animal. I really, really don't. I think there's something off, and there isn't the trust. But a cat person's different than a dog person. They are. They both are in touch with the primal animal part of themselves, perhaps in a different way than somebody who is not an animal fan. But a dog is different, and there's a reason a dog is man's best friend. I love what you said about the loneliness of it all, where it's just like, how many people go off solo into the mountains and they bring their dog with them. And they're like, I've never felt more alive and connected. It's just, and the quiet, but you have this living, breathing thing next to you that is just enjoying the life the way that they do and seeing the world the way that they do. And it makes you have to do the same. It's just an incredible mirror to what it means to be present on this planet. And I know that we've domesticated essentially wolves to get to this point, but whoever back then did that work, thank you for your service.
Well,
Yeah, they are incredible in that way. So, but what I'd like to know is if you were to ask Walter about yourself, what would you think? What would Walter's answer be to what's your greatest? What does he think your greatest characteristic is?
Wow,
Or
what
your
a
greatest?
great question. It might make me cry. In some ways, I'm kind of like, he's probably like, she's just there. Like, I run this joint. You know what I mean?
I disagree as well.
Again,
No.
come on.
Okay, I'll be more complimentary to myself. I think he would say that I take him on so many adventures and that he gets to see the world because I want to bring him there so he feels included. I'd say that he feels that I love him desperately because there's no way for him not to know, maybe too much to the point that, in the teenage years was like, okay, enough smothering. That I'm a really good snuggler. And maybe it's because I have longer fingernails, or maybe it's because I just love to hold him. But I essentially trained that into him. He was not that snuggly. And so I think he probably would say, yeah, he now loves to be held and touched because of my smothering. Um, and that there is he thinks that I am a good balance for him and that he gets to go and do things. Then he also gets to hang and chill. And that there's fun and joy. I don't spoil him in the like food department. I think a lot of the way because I want him to live forever, so I'll like give him some cheese, but not too much cheese. And I'll give him some peanut butter, but not a Kong every day. And so I think there is a real like reward system that has been ingrained in him that I think he's like, I really know when she loves me or like when I've done something really great and that these treats show me that is the truth. Um, yeah, I mean, I think he's a pretty happy dog. Um, and I would hope that he would say that it's because of me and him, but me. Yeah.
That's
It's your
beautiful.
heart. It's your
Oh my
Yeah,
God, so
heart.
much.
yes.
That as
That's
you're
the word
talking,
that
it's
that's the word
just
that
this
came in.
magnetism. That's
Thank
Yep.
you.
literally, it's your heart is
Yeah.
so huge and
Thank you.
like
Yeah.
beaming. And he says you're tall. I don't know if you are tall, but like it feels tall when you carry him.
Yeah,
Because he's little.
I'm only
Chunky, like
I'm only 5'6", which I don't know what that is in translation to everybody else's, metrics in the world,
we
barring
do
the
the same.
States, but I'd say like I'm a hair above average. Like I'm not that tall. I think people think I have tall energy the way I think he has big dog energy. So I think there's the two of us are kind of like entering into spaces with just like energy fields that just go a little bit wider. And so, yeah, we're pretty much a dynamic duo. And but yeah, I think it's, I get really emotional talking about him. I really do. Like, I
Mhm.
love him so much. It's so unhealthy. So
It's not unhealthy.
It's not unhealthy.
It is
It
in the way that like God forbid something ever happens. Like that's what I mean. Where it's just like, I've cried at people's funerals, but like, uh, I mean, anything that happens to this dog is like, yeah, heart. Oof.
the heart came up when you were talking, and for me it's like I've heard it come out a few times, and it's you talking about presence.
Mm.
And I feel like that he's brought that gift to you to help
Yeah.
you be grounded
Yeah.
and present. And I just I can't help but just be in awe every time I hear stories of people and their animals and the connection.
Yeah.
Like what you look at your life right before he came to you.
Oh my
You were
God.
in
So different.
California.
Yeah.
Like it's astounding to me how the energies traverse the world to find each other.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I never ever everybody's origin story is so good, but I love that you have a great one because you weren't even in New York.
I know. Yeah, no, he was not supposed to be mine. He really wasn't. And I had, a couple different fosters before him that I was definitely like, oh my God. I mean, again, I cried for every one of those dogs like somebody died too. It was just like, oh my God, I've seen you blossom and you become this thing under my wing, and maybe there's some ego involved around the fact that maybe I've rehabilitated you and now it's like you're great again and now another family gets to have you forever, and the crying that would happen after departing from these fosters. And there were a couple that I was like, am I making the wrong decision? Like, is this actually supposed to be my dog? And the second he rolled in, it was like, no, every single turn led me to him. Yeah, pandemic, don't ever want to go back to those times. However, thank God it happened because I would never have had him ever, truly. And so I would do it every time over again. I would. He's the greatest gift I've had. I love that you're saying it that way, and it really does feel this soul connection. And whether it's like woo woo or manifesting or whatever people say about like energy in the world, I really do feel if we're listening to it, there is a pulse, and there is our
Absolutely.
guts know
Yeah.
things that we can't intellectualize. And that was a thing with him. It was like, this shouldn't be the thing that I like, but I'm drawn. Oh, that's this. I never thought it would. He is nothing like the dog I thought I would ever have, but he's everything I actually needed. If I had gone out to look for him, I would never have found him because he
Right.
wasn't what I thought I'd have. Truly, like he's
Yeah.
smaller, He's so pretty. He is weird and funky, and he's a Chihuahua mostly. I would never in my life, ever. I'm not a Chihuahua fan until him, right? Like, he doesn't look like one, but he's like 60% Chihuahua. Like, I would never have gone after him, ever. And then there I was looking at this cute little headshot in a sea of other dogs. And there's something about him that was like, this is pulling me to him. And I would never have found him if I wasn't out there. Yeah, totally.
Exactly. It's always divinely timed.
Yeah.
So here's another one. I want to go deep into, and I'm going to say the word codependence.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it because that's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
So I have had clients where I've coached them through a serious codependency with their dogs. And I personally used to have a very serious codependency with my dog. What I'm picking up from you though, and what I want you to perhaps consider is that there's a codependency which is an unhealthy codependency. An unhealthy codependency will bring out the worst characteristics in you. So in other words, somebody who's codependent about their dog, but every 5 minutes they're paranoid about the dog. Right? It's like you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't do this and you can't do that. And they wrap them up in cotton wool.
Yeah.
And they become neurotic about their dogs. I'm not getting that energy from you,
No.
Jennifer. I'm getting this. Yes, I love my dog to bits and pieces, but he brings out the best of me. He makes my world whole. We love each other. We have adventure. To me, that's not an unhealthy codependency, if you want to call it that.
Thank you.
You know, I think there's a big difference there. And yet I can hear in your voice that there is perhaps a slight tendency that you might be judged for loving your dog too much or smothering them, or etc.
Yeah.
But I want you to see the flip side of that.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate that phrasing. And I guess I use the unhealthy of it because there are people who don't know, like they don't know it. I don't believe it's unhealthy. I have seen people exactly like you're talking about who do have that, where they're unable to leave their dog with anybody. They're unable to not look at a little doggy monitor. You know, I have one that I haven't looked at it in I don't even know how long, but it exists. I honestly don't even know if it's like plugged in properly. But, you know, I have one in theory that I used to back in the day. But when I first adopted him and then we, you know, came back from LA to New York, there was like a separation anxiety thing happening with him. And I immediately had a dog trainer virtually like come in essentially to like help that be mitigated because I do know for myself I really value my independence and certainly with my career I also need that at various points. And so there was a thing of like, all right, well, like he needs to be able to fit into my lifestyle. I can't adapt to the lifestyle I think he's demanding of me for X, Y, and Z reasons because I don't know where he's come from. And so that was something that I did immediately. And it was hard, you know, just like, especially to do it virtually and also like, you know, to leave him in a crate, to leave him in a room, to leave him whatever. And I'm hearing him whining and howling and whatever he's doing. And so I do think that that was something that I knew enough. And I do think that that happened because I fostered a lot of dogs that really, really were very, very I would say codependent and the needs that they had or separation anxiety was really high or neuroticism was like really large. And so I think my experience in the foster space was helpful and also growing up with certain dogs that had different, you know, emotional whatevers. Um, so no, I don't feel like I'm codependent. I just feel like I want to be around him. Like if anything, it's like it as you were saying, like the way that I am regulated while I'm around him, the way that I experience presence and joy and groundedness and life when I'm with him, that is for me the draw. Is like why would I not want to be around a being that brings that out in me? But I will say like I don't just let anybody watch him, you know, but that has less to do about my quote unquote codependency as much as I just don't trust people, right? Like, you know, and if anything were to happen, I do know that that would crush me. So in some ways, it's just like a method for me to be able to like protect myself from not having to potentially experience some absolute tragic situation. And, you know, like the first time somebody watches him, I will send them, you know, videos of like, how do you put on his harness, like step by step, and like, where are the things and what do you need to know and blah, 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 blah. Like, I will be very protective. But yeah, I appreciate the reframe that it's not codependency. It's just being a very specific kind of mom.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I have kids, so I know what it's like. And that's why we call ourselves often dog parents, because it is that kind of the same kind of care and responsibility that you would for a human child, you know, it's the same. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's, again, it's pretty healthy unless it becomes unhealthy where the person or the dog becomes neurotic, either or
Yeah.
both.
Or you have to
Um,
adapt your life to the dog. Like, I think that, again, in the best
And a
case
lot of people,
yeah.
yes, a lot of people will do that. A lot of people will use, actually, I'm going to say use it as an excuse, but it's very often unconscious.
Mm.
That they use their dog's behavior, let's call it maybe in this case separation anxiety. They use that as, I can never go out and I
Right.
can never, I can't do that. It's just mirroring something in the person. I think there will be elements that the dog will have because of that. Perhaps it's abandonment
Yeah.
issues and stuff that they've had in their previous life or with their previous home. But there was also, it's almost like it's mirroring something in the human's
Yeah.
insecurities, the human's inability to face life or to,
Yeah.
what be in public or whatever it is.
Well, there
So yeah, it's
usually
an
is. I
interesting
mean, you can
thing.
tell that symbiosis often. I think, they say like people eventually look like their dogs or the dogs look at the people.
Yeah,
And that is so true. I don't think we
yeah,
look alike, but maybe we do because he's so handsome. And I'd like to think that maybe means like he got that genetically from me. And like I think there is that also energetically, like when somebody rolls up with a
yes,
certain kind of dog, something about them the way
yes,
because of the dog
yes,
that they have or the way in which the dog is.
that's
And
right.
or at least that's how I perceive it. And I think that in some ways it does feel like chicken or the egg, and I don't know enough. This is probably where you all know far more about it than I do, around like, yeah, am I drawn to a dog with separation anxiety and therefore that max because I have my own separation anxiety and now both of us together are totally neurotic and have separation anxiety? Or, is it I'm, drawn to this dog that's really cagey because I'm a fixer by nature and I want to fix the dog, but and now
Yes,
we're in like an,
yeah,
anxious attachment and,
yes,
loophole. Like I there's probably studies, and hopefully there are more that are done around that kind of attraction.
dynamic, yeah,
Yeah, and the
yeah.
dynamic. It's an interesting thing. I really do. I'm fascinated by it. And I will say there have definitely been seasons since I've had him where, different hardships or highs and lows of my life have happened. And if I do think about the road of his emotional well being throughout that, it definitely mirrors a lot of mine,
Mm.
and or vice versa. The first time I ever had to take him to the emergency vet, felt like the worst parent ever, ever. I've never, he was totally perfect and it was all my fault. I let him go up an escalator and he basically ripped out his toenail and it was horrifying beyond. Everything's fine, thank God. But I was like, how dare I? Who am I? Oh my God, I should have known. Blah, 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 blah. And, you know, uh, that could have been a thing where it's like, because I threw myself into like this pit of despair, then his healing process would have been a pit of despair. And then maybe it wouldn't have healed so well. And it becomes this thing of like, at least if I'm aware of how I'm showing up energetically and he's going to pick up on it, then I can potentially shift and vice versa. And so I don't know. I think as long as people are hopefully a little bit more cognizant of in acknowledging like, okay, I'm an anxious person, therefore I have an anxious dog. Like, it's just hard to admit when your, child isn't perfect.
Exactly.
Because then look at you.
I hear you
Yeah.
talking about like rigidity versus flexibility is kind
Yeah.
of what comes to me in this conversation. And
Mm.
I think when we come into relationship, if we could strip off the label of human and dog, like what does that become? Because really it's just two beings coming together to be in symbiosis with one
Yeah.
another and to help you become like through curiosity become easier on yourself almost.
Yeah.
And it's to
Mm.
help because we have a dog that speaks to what you were saying, where we have had to adjust our life
Yeah.
for him. But what I wasn't being honest with about myself is, and just in one sentence, he had a reaction to a rabies vaccine.
Oh my God.
And he went from this lovable guy to Cujo.
Oh my God.
And so we stopped taking him around people.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realize, the gift in that was that I actually wanted to be more isolated. Like I was trying to do all the things.
Yeah.
And now since I've slowed down my life, I'm
Yeah.
writing a novel, and that never would have happened
Yeah.
ever in a million years. So you have to understand that even though there's this challenge I don't want to call it
tension.
a struggle, right? The tension, right? The pulling this way and that there's a gift in that if we are open to seeing it and
Yeah.
not bashing against that door all the time. And
Yeah.
I see that like has been your experience with Walter, and it's just a beautiful thing to watch unfold,
Thank you.
right? And
Thank
to
you.
get to know you, and it's why we're here
Yeah.
on this podcast. So
And why I'm so excited and grateful to be here. I'm also so sorry that you're navigating that. Like it's just like any sort of shift, even if it's brought you this clarity for yourself and, opened up these unexpected doors and given you something that you didn't even realize you knew. It still doesn't make it easier when you had this being that you knew and loved as a certain thing. And now, given something that was totally out of your control, has shifted. And I can only imagine how hard that has been because the love doesn't change, the circumstances do,
no.
and it's really, really, really hard.
I think for years and years, I mean, it happened when he was 7 months old when it started. We didn't understand it, so we gave him a second one, and then when he was 2, I think is when like we were herding. He's an Australian Shepherd, so we were doing herding, we were doing agility, we were doing all these things, and I had this like I'm an old athlete, and I'm like, oh, I just love doing all these things, and and the way that it comes down, it's like it was a hard year, and I was really hard on myself. I should have known, right? It's just like you're saying with the escalator. I should have known. I should have researched it. I should have. That doesn't serve anything in this world. And so you just say, okay, let's just slow down and see what's there. And I think, yeah, we have a great life. He's going to be 13 this month. So, I mean, it's different, but it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that you've been able to have the perspective from it too, I think is, really beautiful. Just naming what we were saying earlier, that some people aren't willing to even look at themselves or the situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you've been able to and also have been willing to adjust for yourself, not even just for the dog, like for you as well. And also to reflect on it in a way to be like, wow, look at the gorgeous, beautiful, unexpected gifts that have also come through this real hardship. And I think that is something that I wish more people did. And also I think it's something that many dog parents actually do. Like good, I mean, this is a qualifying word, but like in quotations, like good dog parents do, because really the main learning is how do we be so present? And if we're really listening into that and we're really focused on the presence of what is, then there are some beautiful doors and opportunities and things that never would have happened if we didn't listen for them in the hustle that is, what it is to be a human. And so I think it's unfortunately really special that you've been able to adapt your life and learn from it and grow because of unfortunate circumstances.
And I think that's one of their biggest teachings as dogs, isn't it? They are, I think you said it before, Jennifer, they are your mirror, not in a and not always in an obvious way. If you've got a dog that's biting people, I'm not saying that person wants to go and attack people. It's just they're always holding up that honest reflection of who are you today? Who are you? And do you so my dog is a very athletic, free spirit that, she might have pinned the odd small fluffy dog.
So you have a hard time with Walter.
She'd probably love him.
Walter would be like, I'm big, don't pin me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're careful where we take her. But and there was this like period of time when I got her, because I got her as a puppy and I've always had rescues. So I've always had that, they're a rescue. So I got this puppy and we did all the right things. And then suddenly, she's just becoming more prey driven towards certain dogs. And I'm like, yeah, but I live somewhere really cosmopolitan. Look at all these people walking their dogs everywhere. And I remember trying to walk her. I mean, sometimes she can do the beach, but only if it's quiet. I remember trying to walk her at this place that I was like, this would be really cool to walk her. And she went absolutely mental at this dog that went past. And my mate went, yeah, but you don't like it there. And I was like, yeah, I do. I love it here. I love walking there. And he's like, yeah, but you don't. I'm like, yeah, no, I do. I really do. I really do like it. I really like it. So I totally convinced myself that I loved being in that space. So then when we pivoted with her and started going different spaces, oh my God, I was like, oh, I like this. Okay, I like this is what feels good.
Mm.
And so it was almost like I needed one of her teachings was to get me, even though I've chosen to live somewhere more urban and I can dip in and out, she's my nature baby. Like she gets me into nature and she keeps me fit. She keeps me on my toes. She gives me she just, so I think they just cut through the shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
bullshit detectors is what I call them.
And only when we're ready to actually face, frankly, ourselves will we actually listen. Like, I love that your friend was like, no, that's bullshit. And you're like, it isn't. It's so not. Until one day you're like,
Oh,
I hate that you were right. Fine. You know, like that.
So
Like,
true.
but sometimes we're not ready for it. We're really not. You know, and yeah, again, like we can live our lives in denial. We can live our lives a little bit more bullish. And I have been privy to that and do that sometimes too, when you're like, no, I know, or I've invested so much time and energy into this one thing. It has to work.
Money.
Yeah, my money. Oh my God. Like it has to work. And then one day you wake up and you're like, it's not working. It's not. And then I have to just accept that I've spent all that and done all that. And it just isn't the thing. It's just not the thing. But that's a moment of bravery and a big deal. And what a beautiful reward for both you and your furry lover, friend, child, that, you know, you get to make that decision for everyone involved. And I imagine when we listen mostly to our gut and the thing that we know, both intellectually and more importantly, somatically, that it probably is the quote unquote right thing for everybody involved. Just takes a moment. So.
Takes a lot of moments sometimes.
Yeah, many moments, many years, much time.
Here's a paddle. Let me just slap you around the face a few times.
Literally. Yeah, completely.
But I've always said I'd much rather have those head slaps and whatever from my canine friends than I would a human relationship.
Any day. Any day. If some of the things that my dog did, if a human being did some of it, I would never. There was a comedian that I honestly wish I remember her name, but it stuck with me, this set, for years, for absolute years. And she got on stage, and it was a small little New York house, and she was talking about, you know, how her and her wife were like, you know, newly married, and her wife started wanting children. She was like, no, I can't. I don't want a baby at all. So the wife was like, fine, compromise. We'll get a dog. And she's like, I really don't want a dog. And the wife was like, we're going to get a dog. I'm butchering the entire way that she told this, but they got a dog. And this woman was like, I really didn't want this dog. And then she like flips forward and she's like, and now we go on walks and I hold this dog's literal hot shit in my hand, and I would do it every day. And if you, like, as in her wife, if you had shat on the ground and asked me to pick it up, I won't. I'm married to you, and I could never, like, again, like I'm butchering the way that she talked about this. I was howling, and it stuck with me so much because it really is that kind of thing. Like if we really love this deeply, we would do things I would never do for somebody human that I love. I love my partner desperately. I would, I guess, grave situation that I can't even imagine in my life. God forbid this is even the case, that you're shitting on my floor in my home. You think I'd wipe that up? Are you out? Go, you do it yourself. It came out of your butt. I don't, but I'm watching my dog and giggling about how he's sitting and squatting with lifting a leg right in front of another apartment building. And then I'm taking a bag and I'm hot scooping it up and holding it in my hand. That's crazy. That's cool. But it's true. Like I would never do that for a person. I would never do that for a person, I guess, barring some like extraneous situations of like real gravity. And even then I don't want to think about it because that's horrifying. But this, you pee on my carpet, I'm mad. But I know it's my fault. I left you too much water. Like, that's on me. Fine. Crazy. Yeah. I'll never forget that. I was like, it's true.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'll just hold hot piping shit in my hand. Willingly, every day, twice a day, sometimes 3.
Okay, so this is confession time, and fingers crossed this isn't only me. Has anyone done a pretend pickup?
Oh, of course.
Oh,
what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like pretend pickup. When you can't find the poo or you're not sure, so you just
for sure.
Also the
You're
ones,
like-
and not
You're
to be
like, I know
gruesome, but
these
like
people.
that, and also like when your dog is like unwell and there's the lava situation,
The real runny
the
one.
really one, and you can't put water in a plastic bag. Like, am I picking up? Like, I mean, that's a hard. That one is really the one that you're like, are there leaves and trees? Like, what is there? Is there
Just get a
am I
stick
gonna?
and just mix
Yeah,
it
am I
all
going to
in there.
build a little monument here so that no one sees what has come out of this living animal's asshole? Like, bad. Those have been
dear.
rough. Those have been really rough. Though I will say that honestly, the thing that really does make me hate people is when you do see the like large feces and no one's picked it up. Like that for me is like, I've been in the situation where I've like run out of a dog bag, and you best believe I'm gonna like find 2 sticks and like hold the poop and like move it elsewhere. But like living in New York City or Brooklyn, like it's just like, and you see poop in the sidewalk, like, and that's not the runny one. It's like a real solid situation. Like you chose to let your dog shit and run.
Was it the dog or was it a human going, I'm not picking up your poo? The human.
I mean, maybe, and then you don't deserve to have your animal in the city, at least. Like, let it go and shit in the woods, please. Let's fertile some trees. But like, there's concrete here. Like, baby, I'm just stepping in that. Like, no.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, and it's people like that, unfortunately, who give dogs a bad name as well. Dogs and dog people a bad name because they don't.
Or even people who bring, like a really unruly dog to like a restaurant, and like, and then the dog makes it really hard for anybody else to bring their dog to the restaurant in the future. Like, there are certain people for sure that, again, I don't believe bad intent, but it's like you're maybe not listening to the needs of your dog. That like, is this overstimulating situation the kind of environment your dog would be thriving in? Leave your dog at home. Oh, you have separation anxiety. Maybe that's a thing that we need to work on. Like, like there are things about listening to the needs for both you and the dog that I think then the ramifications for other people then kind of roll out. And that hurts my heart a little bit.
Do you take Walter out to eat?
Oh yeah.
Does he wear an outfit?
He sometimes does. I never thought I'd be that person. I really didn't. And then I got a small dog. And and especially in the winter, some of these little outfits are, oh my God, I should send you guys this one. He has this one sweatshirt that's like a little dinosaur, and it has like little dinosaur. Honestly, if I can find this video, let me see if I can find it. I think it's on my Instagram too. It's just him, and this is maybe profanity, but this is, I have this. It's on my thing. Great. I'm gonna see if I can just like hold this up to here. This is him. Well, this is him in like a little. So like I do dress him up, like that's unhinged, but this is him in an actual photo shoot wearing a shirt, because why is he not so
my
perfect?
gosh.
But this is him in a different sweatshirt, like a little muscle tee. But this is the one, but this is him in his little dinosaur. Does you know what I'm saying? Like what are like this is, and then I video him like the mother that I am. So I do dress him up.
For anybody listening, that was
describe it. What happened?
Yes, go on, Kim.
Walter was wearing a dinosaur outfit, and there was a toy there, and he was bleep, and then it was over.
That went on for a while
gorgeous.
too. Yeah. So he does wear outfits. And honestly, it really is mostly when it's cold, and I feel like it's serving a purpose of like he's smaller and he shakes if he's too cold. And on airplanes or when we travel on long days, it does in the like holding in whatever, like the weighted blanket kind of vibes with the thunder jackets, whatever they call those. Like I doesn't have an actual thunder coat, but I have found that like a sweatshirt or a t-shirt or whatever will calm his nervous system a little bit. And so I will usually throw him into something when we're traveling. Yeah, he's a little spoiled guy.
So you fly with
That's so
him
cool.
like under your, like in a crate under your seat?
I fly with him on me. He
On
is
you.
registered as a service dog, which honestly, at this point, I think if you've seen me cry about him, you can understand maybe why. But so he is registered as a service dog, and he'll usually just like sit on my lap.
Awesome.
And by usually, I mean he does, and he just hangs out, and he's flown at this point a lot. And so he's good. He's really, really good. The first time I ever flew with him from LA to New York, again, full pandemic. This was like summer, like fall 2020. I was wearing like, like face mask and another mask and gloves and wiping down my seat and all the things. And I had never done that before. And I didn't know this until we got off the plane, and he ran, I think it was JFK, like ran through JFK to go outside and take the largest shit I've ever seen in my life. But the last like 2 hours of the flight from LA to New York, he was like, I mean, around my like lap, just like really like circling and like looking out the window. And like, I was like, oh my God, like I don't have anything, even if I wanted him to like, pee or poop on the plane. He's not trained to do that. I don't ever use pads. Even when we went into like like the pet relief area with like the fake grass, he's like, this is fake. I'm not, it's inside. It's fake. I'm confused. I shouldn't. He won't. So that was, barring that one time, he's really, really, really good on airplanes, and I'll usually give him like some ice, but I'm not too much because I don't want him to pee. Like, it's just like the fine. I've figured out like the way to fly with him, and also like his system to make sure that he's like actually empty beforehand and has peed sufficiently and hopefully pooped. Because that was a really awful experience.
But that's just another example, Jennifer, of that sort of communication that goes on between, what do you need? How do I need? What are the signs? It's that getting to know another being on such a different level, on such a deep, deep level. That's some of it's intuitive, some of it's, you literally physically watching them, some of it's, the energetic exchange. There's so many different things that go into that, but it's such a beautiful, for me, it's such incredible dynamic of how you get to really communicate with another being and another species about just that. How do we help you to do this flight thing, which is a very human thing, and you're a very dog thing. But we're gonna work it out. We're gonna figure it out. And isn't that a beautiful thing that you get to do that in these relationships where you get to figure out something that may be fairly simple for some people, but it's really a complicated thing that you're asking a dog to do. And yet there's that communication, that understanding of, what do you need from me? How can I support you through that? I think that's pretty beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean,
I think if we were to take most situations like that, instead of like, I need to train my dog to do X, Y, Z, is like, this is the situation. I get that you may perceive it or understand it completely differently to the way I do. How do we figure this out together? How do we work together so that we can both get what we need and make it the most, the best experience for both of us?
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, it's like, not that I'm like building my life around him. I'm not, but I know, like, if I'm going to be taking a really early flight, which I hate anyway, I'm not a morning person, but like, if I have to for some reason, I will, and maybe this is good or bad, and somebody might come after me for it, but like the night before, I won't really let him have his evening poop. Like, I'll kind of like hold that one for him, which he's at this point like adaptable around, so that I know, like, come that morning, we are guaranteeing that happens. Or, I'll walk him a little bit earlier than I normally would at like a late night walk, which for me is like, midnight. Like, I'm walking him later. Like, I'll maybe not do that if I know that he has to get up really early so he gets like more of a full night's sleep. Or, if we're going on a later flight or whatever, I'm going to make sure that he has had like a very full day of activity so that he's not like, energized by the time we get to the airport. Like, I do know his patterns, and I also know what I then have control over in order to help make it the easiest thing possible for him.
Correct.
Yeah. And I think that's my role. Like, I think if I wasn't doing that, I wouldn't be as good of a dog parent as I could be. And he deserves that. So I kind of have to do it.
Yeah, I think they all deserve that. I think they deserve, because we're inviting them into our lives
Exactly.
in a very human-centric world. I think we owe it to them in that regard, that we do make it as pleasant for them as possible where we can.
Yeah. I have a question for all of you, though, because I imagine you have all had many dogs, multiple dogs, a couple dogs.
Yeah. A few.
Not that this is happening, thank God, hopefully anytime soon, but like, how do you emotionally go through the heartbreak or the navigation of a different kind of energy of another dog? And, or I guess simultaneously, if you have two dogs at the same time, how do you do a balance of that?
So I'm going to jump in here and be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't said this on the podcast, but Kim and Rachel know that I lost my heart dog in May. It was unexpected. She was 12 years old, but it was not expected.
I'm so sorry.
And yes, it hurt like fuck.
Yeah.
It's, you, as you say, you are so incredibly bonded to
Yeah.
this other being in your life. And I lost my mum during COVID. Um, and I wasn't actually able to be with her during that time because I wasn't able. She was in South Africa. I live in Austria, and I wasn't even able to fly.
Ugh.
So it was really an uncomfortable situation. And of course, my mum and I had a very close relationship. But I will say that it's even, and maybe people will again will shoot me down for this, but it was even a harder grief for me with my dog
Yeah.
because I think one of the reasons is that you live with that dog 24/7. They are by your side all the time.
Yeah.
I've obviously with my mum, I'm not a kid anymore. I've got my own family and we saw each other from time to time, but we weren't in each other's space
Yeah.
24/7. So it is an intense relationship that we have with our dogs. And it was heartbreaking, but
Yeah.
at the same time, the realizations as these things were happening, it's for another episode, but it's that I actually heard her as clear as daylight say to me, "My final gift to you is the gift of grief."
Ugh.
And I'm like, "Oh God, how can grief be a gift?" But let me tell you, it is because she like helped me through every part of it, and she still is. She still is on the other side. She's still helping me through this. And it's just, I think it's not something we want. None of us
Yeah.
want to ever face that day. None of us even want to think of that day.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, and Kim will vouch for this, I know you've said as well, and Rachel, it's the most exquisite, onerous thing that we get to do
Mm.
is to actually see a dog through their entire life
Mm.
and then be with them for their final moment of passing. It is, whoa. Yeah, it is such an honor. It is such a fucking honor that we get to do that. So yes, it hurts like hell, but it is the most exquisite, beautiful experience too.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's not been 2 years since we lost our dog
Sammy.
Zammy. And we've had 7 dogs in our
Wow.
life. So we have 2 now.
Wow.
And we had 3, but Zam was pushing 18. Not real sure because she was a
Wow.
rescue. Most dogs we have helped across. Zam didn't want that, and I absolutely with my whole heart knew it. And you said something earlier about somatics,
Mm-hmm.
like in the somatic feeling, and I think that when we can learn to use that as a guide,
Yeah.
like you just know so much more through your intuition. You can call it intuition, you can call it psychic, you can call it whatever word you want,
Yeah.
but we feel that connection. And I knew she did not want help. And she came she was all about food. And one day she just looked at her bowl and she looked up and said, I'm tired. And it was 12 days. 12 days. She wandered around this house for 24 hours straight. And I'm watching everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I've not done this before, so you have to help me. Like, let's help each other. She got all of her steps out and then she laid down and she was just content. All the people that she knew happened to come by and say goodbye. 12 days. And then we knew what her final day was and we took her out. She was laying in the grass. It was August. And we have fox that live we're not urban, so we have fox that live right outside our fence, and the fox came by and just looked at her and went like this and nodded and walked past her and walked away. And that night between us on the couch, she just took her last breath, and it
Oh.
was absolutely one of the most incredible,
Mm.
painful, brutal, beautiful things I've ever done was to grant her that wish. And I have a window right over here, and she's under a tree right outside that window, and she's here every day. I miss that we laugh every day about all the memories and the things, but
Yeah.
she's here,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, forever
Mm.
here. And so, yeah, it is so hard.
Yeah. They certainly teach us about life
Eh,
and death if
Yeah.
we get, if we're able to get that far with them.
Yeah.
Um, they teach us
It's
everything from
Mm.
start to finish, really,
Yeah.
that we need to know. And yeah, what a privilege that is.
and they also teach you that connection never ends.
Yeah.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
doesn't end.
Yeah.
It's honestly as strong today. It's different,
Yeah.
but it's as
Yeah.
strong
It's
today
just
as the
different.
other.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's just different. It's just different.
And look at what's happening here. Like, you guys are literally killing me.
I know. I'm just crying over here in the corner.
Yeah, but that you saying, when you said the words grief is a gift, you could almost
Yeah.
say that flippantly. But we hear those things, don't we? We hear people say those things,
Yeah.
but you can witness what is happening in this space between the four of us. Is like we're feeling
Yeah.
each other, and and anyone that will be listening will feel that the body of whatever it is, the pain or the missing or the longing. Like, so my boy was Baxter, and he
Is your
no, I'm here,
It's
Cooey.
Not yet.
Oh, that's weird, isn't it?
just keep going,
Okay,
Rachel.
so yeah, it was my boy Baxter who yeah, he was probably also only 13, and he was slowing down, and it was just that day where I just knew he was ready, and he was like, I've got to be outside. And I mean, he probably could have died naturally, but we had the vet come in and to help ease it. But for me, what happened afterwards, I can really feel this, was I was like, who the hell am I without him?
Mm.
Because I was like, he was my everything.
Yeah.
So it was that, like, who, going on walks, and it was such a shedding. It was massive. And yeah, and it's still there. Obviously, that's still with me on some level, but I hadn't realized how much we were the same being.
Mm.
So when he was gone, and he was a big boy, oh my God, it was that, see, I'm feeling it. But I think that's the thing, is when we talk from that place of deep emotion, and often grief does take us there, then shit, do we connect to everything and everyone around us. I feel like it is one of those emotions that helps connect us beyond
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
for
Maybe.
sure.
So thank you for asking that question.
I
That
know it
was
wasn't the most optimistic of them, but I feel like we've talked pretty deeply, and I wanted to hear from you all.
needed to hear
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It
And
was
Thank you.
it was perfect. It was perfect.
How old's
So
how
go
old's
on.
Walter?
Again, it's like, who's to say? When I adopted him, they said he was a year.
Okay.
So he just had his 7th birthday, we think, in June. Um, so he's 40-year-old man. And he's acting like it. Like it. So, it's I feel like I've seen him through the different seasons of, like, age, in that, like, there is, like, the puppy phase without I didn't have to do, like, the full puppy, which in some ways I'm actually really grateful for, honestly, because that's a different brutal thing, and I've inherited him as this thing that kind of already had something to him, and I didn't have to
Ready made.
Yeah, but, like, not fully formed, enough that, like, there was, like, I didn't have to deal with the, "Oh my god, you're peeing everywhere all the time." Um and now to see him in this more, like, middle-aged vibes, feels he's definitely more settled and calm and knows routine, and, I just pray and hope and that I have, another 10 years with him. So that's all I dream of, and if there were anything that, I could do to enhance that, then I would. So
I'll tell you what we can all do to enhance that, Jennifer, and that is just appreciate every single day and every single
Yeah.
moment with
Mm.
them. That is the best way we can do that, not through, what's the best diet and
Right.
what's the best health regime and whatever. It's that presence of being with them and making those incredible memories and moments with
Yeah.
them in every moment, I think, is the most precious thing that we can do
I think it's
versus
exactly what you're
how
doing.
long have we got with you, you
Yeah.
Yeah.
know?
It's exactly
Gold.
what you're doing. You want to be with him.
Mm,
You
Yeah,
do
yeah.
things with him, right? Strip away human dog and just be with that
Yeah.
being that completes you.
mm,
Mm.
Because you complete him too. It's not one-sided. It's that circle. And you said you don't know where something ends. It doesn't end. It just
yeah.
is connected fully.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I'm gonna take what Rachel said there because I think you said it really well. Who am I without my dog?
Mm.
But it's not a, and that, like what you said, Kim, the automatic thought is we complete each other. I want to hone in on we are the same being, like
Yeah.
Rachel said. We are
Mm.
not separate. We appear to be two
Yeah.
separate beings. We're not. We are one and the same.
Yeah. Which is why it's so deep and intense and
Mm,
ultimately sometimes really painful. So,
And messy.
yeah,
and
yeah,
messy. Yeah.
and messy.
Yeah.
But that's part of life too,
Yeah.
right? That's why it's all of life,
Yeah.
not just the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm here for all of it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This has been amazing. I've really loved this
Me
episode.
too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
joining
having me in this
us.
space and for holding such a warm and open and vulnerable and just real. It's just been such a like a privilege to be able to talk like this. I've been on so many other podcasts that are not that there's anything wrong with this, and obviously I have my own too, where it's just so much more about my career and about the industry and about being an artist. And for me, I'm so much more interested in being a human being, and this has allowed me to, not that I'm not as an artist too, I am myself in all of it, but there's something about really just being able to just like be the human part of me and embrace the thing that I love in a very different kind of way in this space. And so thank you for welcoming me in season 2 and for having such a beautiful space for people to just feel what they feel for their own pets and in their own lives and to learn more. And I'm really grateful.
I mean, that was a pretty cool wrap.
Yeah. Thank you for letting us into your life.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And with
Yeah.
Walter, it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
An
Brilliant.
honor.
Thank you, Jennifer. What an honor. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
We'll just say to any listeners, because we're really rubbish at this bit, is do like and subscribe. And let us know let us know how this has landed for you. Let us know what it's brought up for you. Because we really do bounce off the conversations that happen around us, not just within this space. So your journey matters too.
Yeah. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.